start today is the Nifty. There's Tata Consumer, which has surged quite smartly. BPCL, Britannia, Nestle, HDFC Life. Kunal, hi afternoon. Unusual list of gainers out there today.
Yeah, unusual list, and I think you can add the metal stocks as well in the category. These stocks have been underperformers over the last 1 month, and surprisingly, these stocks are seeing some sort of a buying. I think it's more to do with short covering for at least a couple of large cap metal names. That's what the data was, which I was seeing at the midpoint of the day. So I think that's been one of the reasons why you've seen the metal stocks also flying up higher. But I think it's more to do with the indices gaining up momentum, the sector churn. And that's been the USP of the market in the last one or 2 months. That it's not too much dependent on just one sector to try and outperform and lead the baton ahead. We've seen in parts and parcels, many of the sectors, playing their part and moving and helping the index move up higher. I think now the only two problem points as such, if I can speak, would be on two sectors. One is the large cap IT names. Those stocks have still been big underperformers, and the private sector banking stocks, especially the likes of HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank.
Okay, so metals is also one space which is doing well, not dependent on one sector, but the underperformance of that one sector is quite stark, Nooresh. Nifty Bank, yet again, yes, all the sectors are in the green, but that's the space which is seeing the least amount of gains today.
So if we look at Nifty Bank, the major components are HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank. They are the two deciders. And both these names have not been able to catch up momentum. So at least ICICI Bank is closer to the all-time high. So if you look at the all-time highs are around 960. And for the last almost 2 weeks, it has been in a very tight range from 935 to 960. So it's not broken out on the upside. Neither is it breaking the lows of the last 2 weeks. But the structure is still positive. HDFC Bank, on the other hand, has been struggling around that 1600 mark. But 1550 to 1600 is a very strong support. From this point of this zone, one can actually see a bounce back. So expecting both these names to actually perk up and eventually take the Nifty towards an all-time high. So Bank Nifty also looks interesting at current levels. It's a buy. Purely because both these names are setting up. One is setting up for a bounce and one is setting up for a breakout. So at current levels, Bank Nifty looks interesting, although it has not shown momentum today. But over the next 1 week or so, we could actually see a move towards 45,000 also.
Well, the Adani group of names, that's been a big overhang from March 29. That got lifted. And the Adani group, by the way, has witnessed the highest ever EBITDA at a group portfolio level as well. And a lot of uncertainties, of course, over time have been removed. The final SC hearing, of course, comes in on July 7th or 10th, I think. But yeah, much of the water has already passed the bridge or flown under the bridge, and that group as well has really led the charge. But today, of course, it's telecom, which is really all guns blazing. So be it an idea, which is holding at a level of about almost a 7% gain. There's Bharti, which is up 2% right now. Bharti, by the way, has crossed even that 845 odd mark. Tata, Indus Tower, all these stocks are contributing a whole lot. And this is indeed the biggest sectoral winner today, the entire telecom space. Kunal, a big spurt on idea after quite a while, and then Bharti, of course, the leader of the pack. I mean, one didn't realize it. One was busy tracking banks and autos, but Bharti is at a significant high level.
Yeah, I think, and add to that, Tata Communication is also back at 1400 mark. Again, this is the fact of the market that the churn is playing out in phases with all the sectors. Bharti Airtel actually has done reasonably well. So, even in the last 3 months or the 3 months of the correction for the markets from in the first 3 months of 2023, when the markets went into a correction, the stock corrected from, I think, 840, 850 levels to 720, 730 mark, 750 odd mark. And from there, the stock retested its 200 DMA. So the correction was shallow for Bharti Airtel, and the rise is also a bit more staggered for the stock. And that's the nature of the stock we've seen for itself. So I would believe that hopefully in this leg of uptrend, if the indices go past about the previous highs, we could also expect Bharti Airtel to cross at levels of 850, 880 mark over the next few days. But I think Tata Communication is a more interesting chart because of the way the momentum is shaped up from 1250 levels to now 1400 mark. Tata Communication looks a far more attractive chart, both in terms of near term as well as on the medium term time scale.
a look at the other price volume buzzers, of course, we're talking about the telecom space. ITI, also an ancillary to that, is seeing a spike of almost 5%. And then, of course, the power names. So, Torrent Power, SGVN, Reliance Power, these are some of the names. I know, Kunal, usually the rally in some of these power names is very, very fleeting. But given the fact that Suzlon is also seeing quite a bit of traction today, what are the top bets within the power space, if at all?
So Torrent Power seems to be one of the stock which looks attractive. Tata Power has been an underperformer. I think the stock is still struggling at the 215 to 220 zone for the last many days. So I'm not sure that whether the stock would probably try and play a catch up, but the charts are a bit more neutral for Tata Power. The power finance names actually are the ones which are riding on high momentum. So PFC, REC are the ones which are looking more strong and more charged up. These stocks have confirmed breakouts on multiple time frames. I think, if I'm not wrong, they are also very close to their live 5 breakouts, possibly in the next 5 or 7 percentage points. If these stocks manage to give a confirmation of a breakout, we could be looking at an all-time high levels for PFC, REC as well. So from the traditional power stocks, I think it's only Torrent Power which is looking attractive at current levels.
Okay, that's Torrent Power holding pretty steady in trade as we speak right now. Look at Idea, by the way, that's almost surging now 8%. There's HP, BP, both of them are also very strong today. HP is holding on to a gain of about 5.5%. BPCL is up 3.5% as we speak. There's UBL, Canfin Homes, which is up 4.25%. And then Glenmark Pharma also has been very strong today, almost a 5% uptick actually, which is seeing on the stock as we speak right now. Nooresh, what explains this renewed vigor on HP BP?
So we've seen crude to be on the lower end for quite some time now, and say the base has been set. We are no more getting beyond that 80-90 mark so easily. Technically, both the stocks have given clean breakouts. HPCL is the cleaner one. The stock had resistance around that 265-268 mark, which was the top in September, as well as the whole of last 6 months. For the last 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks also, it was making a flag formation between 255 to 270. So today it's a clean breakout. This indicates a trend change is happening, and we've seen one by one a lot of PSE names, public sector enterprises names have given that move. There is a re-rating happening. So OMCs were the only ones left, given the crude prices were on the higher end, and now finally we are seeing OMCs also break out. HPCL looks the most interesting one out of all the 3 names. This could go towards 300 to 330 in the short term.
Okay, so that's about some of these oil marketing companies. But
let's also get you some more trading ideas before we enter into the last lap or last half an hour of trade today. Let's get in some closing ideas on that note. Nooresh, on your list?
So that would be a buy on Industars. The stock has made a classical double bottom formation, and after that it has consolidated as well. Over the last few sessions, 160 was a resistance. Today we've crossed it with very large volumes. Indicates a longer term trend change is in place. The stock has corrected all the way from 330 back in 2021 to 140 levels. Seems like a long term trend change here. I would expect it to go towards 180 to 200 mark in the short to medium term.
Right. Kunal, what about your strategies?
I'll go contra buy on TCS. I think TCS seems to be showing signs of oversold nature on indicators, and we've seen this pattern for many of the larger cap names that after a couple of days of sharp sell-off, these stocks they tend to bottom out and then come back to their previous highs. So I think TCS also looks attractive. Would go for a contra buy on TCS.
A contra buy on TCS suddenly spiked. Let's pull up the intraday chart if we can of JBM Auto. Not sure what's happening there, but that's a sudden sharp spike that we are seeing there. And Greenlam Industry is the other one which is also trending higher. So that too is also seeing quite a bit of momentum build up. Nooresh, any sense on these 2 names, JBM Auto, Greenlam Industries?
So Greenlam is a bit promising given that the stock has gone through a sideways consolidation for the last 1.5 years. After the result, it saw a gap up, held on to the gap up about 360 mark. And today we are about to cross into a new 52-week high and an all-time high. That indicates the trend looks pretty promising here. So this could be a stock which would be a buy on dips, can go towards 450 to 500 mark in the short term.
Okay, so that's a take coming on a couple of these buzzers. But on that note, slipping into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll track the last 30 minutes of trading session when we come back.